What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Dave here at Abernathy Farms. I have not posted in a few weeks. I've been putting some stuff together. Today we are going to see what's going on. So let's get at it. Oh, it's locked. Do I have the keys? I do not. Jeez Louise. I'm trying to make a dramatic reveal and you don't have your crap together. So let's do this, hit the unlock button. Let's go back around and we will need this. We had a frost this morning. It got down to about 30 degrees here in western North Carolina. And it was pretty chilly. Chickies are ready to come out. There must be one sitting on the nest depositing their rent payment, which is in the form of eggs. You following me? You following me? We got bigger fish to fry. Well, we still got the white truck here. It's been retired to exclusive farm duty, which it's been for a while. This is a 03 with a salvage title. It ain't worth nothing. I think it'd be more of a hassle to try to sell it even if I wanted to, which I don't. I did make some body modifications to it, as in I ripped the bumper off the other day. So maybe we'll try to find one. I gotta put another shirt on. It's cold out here. All right, we got that installed on the Ford, which stands for fast only running downhill. But I live in a hilly part of the state, so I got a lot of hills, so that's not really a problem for me. But for real, I did pick me up a new truck. This is a 2016 F-150 XLT 5.0. I've been looking for a while for the right truck, the right mileage, the right body style, the right motor, for the right price. So I just got this yesterday, actually. It's nothing fancy. They don't have all the bells and whistles. It's got a couple bells and 2 whistles. But I like it. So there you go. I've also got something else coming today. It's coming on a 18-wheeler. It's supposed to be delivered between 12 and 5. It is about 11 o'clock. May have to get the 4,000 cranked to get it unloaded. But it's pretty chilly this morning. It's chilly. I had to put on another coat, another shirt. It's fairly chilly. Well, it's here. Let's get it unloaded. All right, there he goes. Let's see what we got. And that's what we got. Woodland Mills HM126, 14 horsepower with the extensions. That's it. All right, well, so I got the XL model, which has got the trailer, but it's also got those are the bed extensions for the saw bed, the 6-foot bed extensions. These are extensions for the trailer, so I can fit the saw with the bed extensions on there. So I had to destack all that to get the trailer box, because I'm going to build the trailer first and then try to build the saw on the trailer. So I had to do some other stuff with my daughter, so it's a little late in the evening, but I'm going to try to get all the trailer stuff set in here so I can come out here first thing in the morning and start putting it together. Okay, we got everything unloaded. So this stuff and these 2 rails are for the extension, the XL model, for the trailer. Those 2 rails, all this stuff here, and on that table, here's the wheels, fenders, all that stuff is for the standard trailer. And then the main saw and head unit and everything, power head, is in there. And that stuff there is for the extension of the tracks for the saw. You got that? Good. All right, peeps, it's the next day. It's the morning. It's cold outside. I got a fire in the fireplace. You know, it's just enough to take the chill off out here. I'm not really gonna post a how-to video to put this together. There are several of them on the internet, and you can watch them. I've watched them. Everybody watches them. I'm sure that gets one. So there's like a ton of stuff, fasteners. They come with this thing, and drop my pencil. And I'm trying to take it slow, methodical, trying to avoid getting overexcited. So I tend to be impatient and have a tendency to think that I already know how to do everything, so I don't read instructions. I don't know if any other man can identify with that issue. So I'm gonna try to actually read the instructions, be methodical. When I get it set up, I don't wanna have to go back and like redo a bunch of stuff. So one reason is I'm trying to set it up in here. It says to use a shipping crate. It's like a work table. I'm trying to set it up inside here because from other videos I've watched, you got to get it like really level. And I was gonna get some sawbucks and put out here and set it up on. But from what I can tell, if you set it up on this shipping crate, which is kind of low to the ground, and when you get your jack stands off or installed on the trailer, you can actually just jack it up and slide the shipping crate out. If it was up on a set of sawbucks, you would actually physically have to pick it up, set it down. And I don't want to have to do that. So anyway, I'll get started. We'll get a progress update here when I get something done besides 2 2x4s cut. I will say, as I'm unpacking, I am finding like random nuts and random bolts laying in here. I don't know if they've fallen out or where they go, but I'm trying to keep track of all them too. I've already seen where it's part of the head unit, but power head, but it's already missing one nut. Who knows if it's laid down in here or not. And I'm taking the stuff out of the saw box because it says I have rails in there that are for the extension, and they could be the exact same rails that come with the main saw, but I don't know. So I'm afraid if I bolt those extensions and start with those, that these are going to be a little bit longer, a little bit shorter, whatever, because it says in the manual to start with the rails that come with the saw and the bunks and all that stuff. So that's what I'm doing. I got to take all this stuff out to get the rails out. You know, I get to the first page and it says use these M10 by 30 millimeter flanged hex bolts. I'm looking all over. I was like, yeah, there's 35 millimeters. I'm looking all over. I was like, I don't even have any M10 by 30s, except for this bag of like 100 that's underneath the underneath the instructions. Okay, like 2 hours later, that counts unpacking a bunch of crap out of the boxes and checking over a bunch of stuff. I'm on to page 2 of the instructions. So yeah, we got this part together. We got to put these long plates. There's 4 of those, 2 on each side. The first set we tightened up. It said torque 53 foot-pounds. I left some of them loose, but I hit them with the impactor and it was well in excess of 53 foot-pounds. So, you know, we'll just go with the 2 Ugga-Duggas from the impactor from now on that. You know, some of the other stuff we may torque it to spec, but and part of them you can't get the impactor in to get these back bolts. So, you know, you gotta use a ratchet in the socket, but making progress. So one thing I've noticed is the 2x4 is not really tall enough where you can have room to get your hand underneath there to put nuts and stuff on. So I had a 1x3, and I cut it into some pieces. Actually, I already had it cut, so, and jacked it up another 3/4 of an inch. It gives you more room to get your hands underneath there, which is nice. Well, I'm getting ready to take a break for lunch. So I got the other rails, they're just loosely bolted on, nothing's tight. And supposed to put these bunks on, but if you see, that one's a little narrow. That one down there is a little wide. I know nothing's together. That seems to be a lot of discrepancy. So we'll see what they say, how it goes, but I'm going to eat lunch. So I've gotten this far, which is not as far as I had hoped to get today, but one of my buddies come by and we chit-chatted, looked at the new truck for a little bit. I am running into an issue here where these holes aren't really lining up. I already put one in down here and didn't have an issue with it. I gotta put this one in, but I can't get my hand underneath there. I have to move the stand or whatever. But that one, 4-bolt, called center bunks, went in fine, and that side, it's not tight, but I didn't put the ones in there. But so anyway, I decided to stop. I got to clean up my mess out here, and we're gonna call it a day. I might come back out here tonight, but I've got to go pick up my daughter and get all this trash up. So we'll see. All right, guys, we're back on the Woodland Mills HM126. When we last left off, these holes wasn't lined up, and I messed it up. So I was trying to be like real methodical with the drawings and go through, and I really didn't do that. So this was the first step. Use the crate, bolt this center bunk in, the 2 rails, and I did that. But what I was supposed to do was verify that I had 30 1/2 inches between the outsides of the rails, and I didn't do that. So now I got to go back through and loosen a bunch of stuff. This is the center bunk. That's not bolted in. This is loose. That one's not bolted in. That one's not bolted in. So this was the first one I bolted in. First set of rails I bolted in. And I was supposed to verify that it was 30 1/2 inches outside the outside, and I did not. So unfortunately, I got to take loose a bunch of bolts and do that. So what I ended up doing was putting a ratchet strap here. I had to pull it together about 1/8 of an inch, and that's I got this one snugged up. It's pretty much dead on. So I'm kind of working my way down, and what I'm doing is taking this framing square, and I want to make sure my bunks are square to my rails as I tighten them back up. Now I've already loosened this one, and it was not square to the rails. It was out several degrees. So I'll finish this up, and then we'll get back to the next step. Okay, it's taken like 3 hours of measuring and remeasuring and all kinds of stuff. But we're to this point right now. I've got everything but these last 2 side rails to put on. This is the front. They go at the front. I'm gonna be right up against the door, and I don't want to open the door tonight. It's 10 o'clock at night. So I am calling it a day. We'll come back tomorrow. We gotta get these on the front, last 2 panels. And then after that, I think we're gonna jack it up, and after that, it's that. It doesn't say to lower it down. Okay, after that, we're gonna take the jacks out, attach the jacks to it, jack it up, take the crate out, and then put the yeah, all this stuff. It's still a good little bit to do, but I don't think the stuff that's left requires a bunch of measuring. It kind of goes where it goes. So we're on page 37 of 68, so a little past halfway. Fenders, tongue goes on, wiring, lights, stickers, tags, chains, and that's it. We'll see you tomorrow. All right, we're out here. It's the next morning. It's a little chilly this morning. I came out here this morning with the fire, and the fireplace. Nice cozy out here. We have all the side panels on. I'm putting on the jack stands. I've already messed one of them up because one has 2 holes in the center and it goes on the very front rail. So I'm gonna take that one off. Luckily I'm only got it on one side. Swap that one out. Everywhere there's a bunk gets a rail. There's 2 special ones. The one with the 2 holes goes on the front, and this one, which is hard to not recognize, goes where the axles will mount, which are right there. So I gotta swap that one out on the front and mount this one, and then mount the ones. This one is one that mounts where the jacks go, 3 of those, because I got to extend the trailer. And then mount the rest of them and carry on. Okay, we're off the crate. We are self-supporting. We're supporting ourselves, which is important. Crate is removed. So now it's a fancy stand. So we gotta put the wheels on. Gotta get the rest of the cross braces in. It goes there. And put the wheels on it. All right, here's where we're at. I got all the cross rails installed and bolted in, but they're not tightened down. And I had made a mistake, which cost me about at least an hour of time, because the cross rails where they get an additional attachment, like where the jack stands go and where the axles go, take a 35mm long bolt. So those are the ones you put on first. And so I was in like a production mode, so I was going through and putting the rest of them in. That one, there's 2 on the front for the tongue attachments, and I put 35mm bolts in them. Well, turns out they take 30mm bolts. So I ran out of 35mm bolts. So I had to go back to 2 on the front, 2 in the middle, and 1 on the end, and take out the 35mm bolts and swap them with 30mm bolts, lengthwise. But luckily I didn't tighten anything up, so it wasn't that bad. But I did have to go back and do it. So now, I think I got all the bolts installed, right length, right spot. So I got the air impact, and I'm gonna go through, tighten them all. There's a lot of bolts on here. Spot right here, there are 28 bolts in this, from here to here. 28 bolts, 14 on each side. So everywhere there's a jack stand, there are 28 bolts. So that's already like 84 bolts just on those 3. So I think there's about 200 and some bolts on here, just on this part, if not more. So yeah, it's a lot of bolts. It's a lot to keep track of. So putting these axles on, and they're not like super heavy, but one person, there's no way you're gonna hold them up and get the bolts in and all that stuff. So I got the door open, I got the floor jack in here, jacked them up just enough, move them around. They're not so heavy you can't move them around. Move them around, get the bolt started, and so yeah. All right, this is where we're at. We have got the axles, wheels on. We have got the tongue on. It said to leave it loose, so you gotta snake the wire connectors there, but whatever. So next is the lighting. The lighting looks like it's gonna take a lot of fasteners, straps, stuff like that. You know, if I was sure I was never gonna take it on the road, I'd probably just skip it, but better not. You know, you get to a certain point in the project where you're like real close to being able to use it or go to the next step, so you just start to get impatient. At least I do. So we're gonna try to be patient and we're gonna get it. So wiring's next. All right, we got the wiring harness on, we got the tongue tightened up. The only thing I can't find is the nuts and the washers to mount the Woodlander signs on here. I got the bolts, but the nuts and washers it says to use to mount the Woodlander sign are MIA. So yeah, I guess they don't get mounted. I'll get some nuts and bolts put on there. So that's kind of pretty much it for today. I didn't put the fenders on, and probably not going to right now because I don't need them. You can take the fenders off for loading wood and whatnot. So I'm not taking it down the road right yet, so I'm not worried about that. Yeah, there she is. Well, I'm trying to move it out of the shop. I got the lights on, check the lights, they work, brake lights work, turn signals work. So I come out here and I was like, I'll just pick it up and roll it out. No, you will not just pick it up and roll it out. This thing has got so much tongue weight on it, I couldn't pick it up. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not picking it up. I do know, and I'll have to see, I'm not gonna be moving it that much, so I don't know how big of a deal it is, but it needs like a single jack right here just for loading it on the tongue, because it's a pain in the ass to have to go switch sides to try to keep lowering it down. The reason why I'm hooking it up is because I can't run it back anymore, and I don't want to leave the door open all night. So I'm actually gonna pull it out. I'm gonna leave it hooked up to the truck, and so I can shut and lock up the shop. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I don't want it to get too long, so I'm gonna make a part 2. Tomorrow I'm hoping to get the power head on here, and today's Monday, get the power head on here, maybe finish it up tomorrow, hopefully by Wednesday or Thursday, trying to make some trial cuts. So if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. If you'd like and subscribe to the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.